All of the classical empires eventually overextended themselves, declined in political, social, and economic areas, and eventually fell. This happened at different times, but usually along the same pattern. You had internal disruptions and outside invasions leading to the demise of each. In Afro-Eurasia, you had the Mauryan, Han, Western Roman, and Gupta empires collapsing in that order. The usual chain of events included a long but serious decline in political, social, and economic influence over its own people, and then those outside the empire's borders. You had internal pressures like diseases spread by war and by transference along trade routes. You had peasant revolts against overbearing landlords, resistance to high taxation, a breakdown of imperial authority, failing economies. A good example of this would be the Yellow Turban Revolt within the Han Dynasty, which promised a new society with no rich landlords, no oppressive government officials to bully the peasants, etc., etc. Through excessive mobilization of resources, imperial governments caused environmental damage and generated social tensions and economic difficulties by concentrating too much wealth in the hand of the elites. Environmental damage included erosion, siltation, and deforestation, the spread of disease, again, the influence of pastoralism, upset the soil, allowed for more standing water, spreading the breeding ground for like mosquitoes, which spreads malaria. Close contact with domesticated animals like cattle and pigs allowed for the spread of viruses like measles and smallpox, and even like the bubonic plague spread with rats. Deforestation, the only fuel available was fires, and the main building material for structures was homes was wood. Forestry on urban and agricultural areas became denuded with trees. The loss of ground cover resulted in loss of topsoil. We had mudslides, challenges to local economies as the need for wood forced urban areas to ship timber from farther away. And then the extension of irrigation systems and slash and burn agriculture took a toll on the land. They've been farming this land for a long time. Eventually that soil's going to become sapped. And this creates social tensions. A moral decline, as in the empires were going away from their core beliefs. There was a upturn in materialism from the elites. They were spending an exorbitant amount of money on goods instead of helping the lower class people who needed the help. And then, of course, we had external problems. For the Romans, they had Germanic tribes' jealousy of their wealth led to invasions that the Romans could not fend off due to preoccupation with wars against the Persians. The Hans faced steplanders from the west, and they were absorbed into the Han dynasty, which resulted in the weakening of the Han dynasty. Persians were taken down by unified Greece that banded together when Persia invaded to take over trade in the region, and eventually Alexander the Great conquered Persia. Nomadic invaders or barbarians were sweeping through farms and cities of all of the classical empires, looting and taking food and leaving destruction and death behind. The most famous barbarian invaders of Rome were the Huns, Goths, and Vandals, who attacked the Western Roman Empire and the capital of Rome itself in the mid-5th century. The causes and decline of the fall of the classical empires in the Americas remain a mystery and a source of debate among historians. Current theories point to an ecological collapse, perhaps brought on by the overuse of the land or perhaps by natural changes in the climate. Either of these would have led to lower levels of food production, and without abundant and dependable sources of food, residents of cities like Teotihuacan, Tikal, and those in the Moche Empire perished. And that's it.